Hello, my name is Gideon Ferber, and in this clip I'm going to demonstrate the integration between Maestro 6 and automation. The Maestro can be controlled by automation systems such as ROS Overdrive, Avid's Control Air, Harris, Snell Morpheus, Pebble Beach, and so on, using either CII or VDCP protocols. The Maestro can accept multiple connections to automations, allowing the usage of different protocols simultaneously. Now this is very useful because it allows independent control of different virtual layers or different render channels by different port connected to a single automation system, which is the typical configuration, for example, in MCRs. And it also allows different systems to have simultaneous control of different virtual layers or channels, like for example one vision mixer using VDCP to trigger wipes, while a studio automation system is using CII protocol to trigger, let's say, a previously received MOS rundown. Additionally, manual playout can be combined with the automated playout, what actually gives you really the topmost flexibility to cover most of or virtually any encountered situation. Okay, let's start from the Maestro itself. We are right now watching the default interface, and for this specific clip I'm going to use a local render engine in order to simulate the playout signal that usually in real life environment goes to the DVG. Now the next thing I want to do, I want to use a previously created rundown, so let's open that. Okay, now that I have the rundown, I want to configure or actually before we configure the CII device connected to the system, let me show you the tool we are going to use. And this is a test tool that we developed in order to simulate CII commands sent to the system. So this is the tool we are going to use. Now before using that, let's start by defining the CII device connected to the system. So we start from Customize, Settings, and in the settings we go to Automation, and from here we can define the new device connected to the system. So I click the Add, I can give the device a name, and let's say that this is a CII device. The type of device can be set from here as well, so either Avid controller, CII, Sony protocol, VDCP. For this clip, as I said, we are going to use CII protocol. Configuration, now we can configure the connection method of the CII device to the system. So we start by defining the port, and I'm not using a serial port, I'm using a TCP/IP connection. We can define also the char set, so either ASCII, UTF-8, UTF-16, depends on the content of the commands you are sending from the automation. I will leave it for this example on ASCII. From the settings we can set, first of all, which output connects to which channel. So right now we are using only one channel, only the local preview that will be displayed in here in this render engine window. However, if we have several channels, or if we are controlling simultaneously several render channels, we can of course set them in here and define that each output connects to different channel. Furthermore, we can define the virtual layer that the channel is sending the information to. I will show that in few minutes. So once it's defined, OK and OK, and you can see in here that we have now a CII device added to the interface. Next thing to do would be to first of all connect the render channel, and second, you can see now that the CII is turned to yellow, which means it's ready to receive the information. The local render channel is green, meaning it's available and ready for us to start sending the information to. And now we can actually start sending commands to the Maestro. So let's switch to the test tool, and in the test tool first of all we have to connect. Once we connected, you can again see which host we're connecting to. So this is the local host, which port, char set, done. And now we can start work. Each page in the rundown actually has, as you can see in here, a unique ID. So for example, if now I want to send or I want to load the opening page to the rundown, so I can first set the output and display mode, and I can type the ID of the page. So I want 1DM, and I want to read and update that specific page, and you can see that it turned to green, indicating it's been loaded to the system. Now I can go to the play, and I go to output 1, play with pause. Play with pause means it will play the first take and then will pause the animation. We have also the ability to define play without pause, meaning it will play all the different takes defined in the page one after the other without any stops. So we play the first page. Now let's say that I want to play the next one, so the next one would be just number 3. So again 3, read and update, and then again play with pause, and now we have the background running. Same way, again and again, we can continue that to trigger more and more pages. So 1DV, read, loaded, play, and you can see now the ticker running in the local preview. The next thing I would like to show you is manual triggering. So while we are connected to the CII, I can still trigger pages manually. So for example, if I want to play the side panel in, I can still just go and cue and play, and it will trigger the side panel in. So we can of course combine and control different pages either through the CII protocol, VDCP protocol, doesn't matter, or manually at the same time. Okay, let's get rid of the side panel in, and the next thing I would like to show you is how you actually send different content from the CII protocol. So let's say I want to use the side panel world weather, and you can see that the first city here is Toronto. Now I would like to send this page, however, with different content. So again, I can go to the CII test tool, and first of all I have to set the ID of the page, and this is 1EJ, and this time I want to use the parameter, let's say New York, instead of Toronto that was there previously. So read and update, it triggered the page, and now play, and you can see in here that New York was the first. Let's trigger that again. You can see that New York is the first city instead of Toronto. So very easy way to change data, trigger the information that you need from the automation system. Okay, the next thing I would like to show you is how we can actually set different virtual slots from the automation system. And the idea is very simple. The Maestro can play up to 256 different virtual layers, which means that we can actually, you can see it in here in the V slot, we can set different virtual layers to different elements in order to have more flexibility while playing the pages to air. So each page is assigned by default to a specific layer, and this layer is defined on the creation stage of the page. However, we can override this information through the automation connection. So let's say that I want to send the background page, instead of to the background layer, I want to put it on top and use the logo layer for that page. So first of all, what we have to do, we have to disconnect the production and go to the customize settings, and let's define the new virtual layer for that specific channel. So we're going back to the CII device we configured, go to the configure again, settings, and now I want to control the output 1, which is channel A, the local preview, and instead of using the no change, which means that each page would be played on its original predefined virtual layer, let's say that I want to play all of them, all the pages, to the logo layer. So once it's configured, OK and OK. Now that we configured the device in the way we need it, we can again connect the channel, and let's see what happens now when we trigger the pages, and let's see how it behaves. So let's go back to the test tool and connect again. we are connected, and now let's try to play the different pages. So let's say that now I want to trigger page number 3. So read and update and play with pause. So we have the background running. Now let's see what happens, and you can see by the way already that now it's on the logo layer. Now let's see what happens if we trigger the side panel, for example. So 1EJ, read and update, play with pause, and you can see that now it replaced the background again, because now both of them are using the same virtual layer. So both of them are using the logo layer, one instead of the other. So now again I can go back to the background, manually trigger it, play, and again it replaces the side panel. So we are actually overriding the virtual layer that was assigned previously to the page, and we are using the information or the new virtual layer that we defined in the protocol itself, in the device itself. Okay, the last thing I would like to demonstrate is the connection to several or to two channels simultaneously. So for example, let's say that I want to have one rendering channel, which is the local channel, and now I want to add additional channel. Let's say one is using SD parameters, the second channel uses HD parameters, and you can actually control multiple channels simultaneously from the same automation protocol. So again, let's start by unloading the channel, disconnecting the channels, going back to the settings, and now you can see in the program and preview that I have one channel defined as A as the local host, which is this window right here, and the second channel which goes through the DVG and going on air. And for our example, one would be, let's say, SD parameters, and the second would be HD parameters, so you can actually control several channels simultaneously. And in the automation, let's go back to the configuration, and you can see now in the settings that we can say that output 1 goes to channel A, output 2 go to channel B. That's it. Let's set it back, channel 1 to no change, so we can have multiple pages on air simultaneously, and OK. So now that it's configured, we can actually select the pages that we want and load them to the second channel that we defined. So now we actually have all the pages available for the two different channels. So again, we can connect. Now we are ready to start sending the information from the automation system. So again, the CII device is ready for connection, connect, and we are ready to go. In this exact same way that we used it so far, we can now control several channels simultaneously. So if I define one DM for the opening page into channel 1, read it, it's available, play with pause, and here's the opening running in the back. Let's clear the preview and do it again so it will be easier to see, and just play with pause again. Okay, so the opening is on channel A. Now I want to send the background to the second channel, to channel B, so I can use the same method, is typing the ID, defining channel 2, read and update. It's loaded, as you can see now, only on channel 2, and if I would play the page to channel 2 as well, play with pause, and you can see that now it's red, which means on air on the second channel. That's the concept. So you can actually, from the same CII connection, from the same automation connection, send different pages in the rundown to different channels available in the system. That's the idea. That's it for now. Thank you very much for your time.